top is beginning to rotate like a screw, and the thing must be hollow. He's moving! He's back there! He's back there! He's back! He's back there! He's back!
Hello and welcome to Nobby's Moment in History for October 30th, 2022. That was H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, broadcasted in 1938. Here, enjoy the rest of the broadcast where the world started panic, because that's what they heard first. Nanny, nanny.
Someone crawling someone or something, I can see, turning out of that black hole through luminous discs. Of the eyes, it might be a face, might be on the head. But heavens, something wriggling out of the shadow like a gray snake. Now it's another one, and another one, and another one. They look like tentacles to me. I can see the thing's body now. It's large as a bear. It glistens like wet leather, but its face, ladies and gentlemen, it's indescribable. I can hardly force myself to keep looking at it. It's so awful. Its eyes are black and they gleam like a serpent in the mouth. It's kind of V-shaped with saliva dripping from its windless lips. To see that those quivers pulsate, and the monster, or whatever it is, can hardly move. He's weighed down by possibly gravity or something. The thing's rising up now, and the crowd falls back. They've seen plenty. The most extraordinary experience, ladies and gentlemen. I can't find words. Well, I'll pull this microphone with me as I talk. I'll have to stop the description so I can take a new position.
Welcome back. That was the conclusion of the opening that everyone heard that sent people panicking. I'm going to give you cliff notes on exactly what the broadcast was, and also tell you why it was so important to history. At the 6-minute and 12-second mark to the 9-minute 18-second mark, they have a scientist explaining what happened over Mars, a bunch of explosions. They think it's an asteroid. Then they discover, no, it's a red disk of some kind. From the 9:30 mark to the 10:25 mark, Toronto, Canada calls into the radio station, reported explosions overhead, and then the crash at Grover's Mill. The following is the actual report from the owner of the Grover's Mill.
Kind of like a 4th of July rocket. Yes, then what? I turned my head out the window and would have sworn I was asleep and dreaming. Yes? I seen a kind of greenish streak and then zingo. Something smacked the ground, knocked me clear out of my chair. Well, you were frightened, Mr. Wilbur. Well, I ain't quite sure. I reckon I was kind of riled. Well, thank you, Mr. Wilbur. Thank you very much. Yeah, you want me to that's quite all right. That's plenty.
The 10:52 mark to the 16:10 mark. They talk about what has crash landed at Grover's Mill. Scientists are baffled. They don't know what's happening. Then a hatch opens up, and then the broadcaster decides to walk over because he hears a ominous hum. And here goes the original broadcast of what the broadcaster said when he walks up to the red disc.
Do you hear it? It's a curious humming sound that seems to come from inside the object. I'll move.
Shortly after that recording, people start hollering. Objects start flying from the object, and then a hatch opens and everything gets quiet, and out comes a creature. They break away to the main broadcast system, and they bring in a scientist from Princeton that starts talking about the ray gun. And if you remember back during that time, Nikola Tesla was asked to make a so-called ray gun for the government. So they were testing out what people would think if they seen this type of technology, as well as aliens. At the 18-minute mark, they announced that aliens have attacked, that they're attacking the militia as well as the state police of New Jersey. At the 1850 mark through the 1950 mark, they announced about 40 people have died, including 6 state troopers, when the aliens attacked New Jersey. And then at the 1930 mark, they decided to declare martial law and leave the defense against the aliens to the militia, the state militia of New Jersey. At the 20-minute mark, they explain how the aliens let the firefighters put out fires, and then they break away and talk about how they're destroying all the infrastructure of the United States. They're leaving the big cities and the towns and the fields alone, but they're going after the electrical systems, the grid. At the 3120 mark, the Washington Mountain is called. They start launching missiles, secret government missiles at the aliens. And then all of a sudden, this black mist, smoke, gas, they're not sure what it is, starts overtaking the mountain. And then the broadcaster says, "Mountain, you there? Mountain, you there?" No response. At the 3150 mark, they get a break-in broadcast talking about 6 total flying machines have evaded over New York City. At the 3319 mark, reports of the bombers that they sent after the UFOs have failed. At 3345, this is where Bayonne, New Jersey calls in, home of the Air Force, Army, Navy, all the bases that protect the East Coast line. And they're having trouble. They can't stop them from invading New York. At the 3425 mark, they break in and give evacuation routes. Everyone must leave now. The aliens have taken over. The broadcaster reaches out to all his fellow broadcasters, trying to get someone to respond, and questions, could this be the last broadcast on Earth? At the 37-minute mark, they get other broadcasters finally tuning in, talking about they're taking over all the major cities, releasing a black cloud, a smoke, a gas, some type of bioagent. 3746 mark, reports of how the gas is killing everyone in Times Square, following them down into the subways, while everyone jumps in the East River trying to escape the smoke. At the 3925 mark, they break in and say, "Well, folks, we'll be back after these messages. We'll be right back." This is where they found out everything was made up and it was just a broadcast as well as a comedy skit, and also was a test by the government to see how people will react to alien life, as well as new technology that they were discovering from World War I. Thank you. That's been Naba's History Moment. Remember, if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Nanu nanu, manja manja, eat eat. Please like and subscribe.